Back during my teenage years, I was in a karate class, and my instructor used the phrase Miss Scusi before explaining to me that it was a reference to one of his all-time favorite comedy films. Years later, my boy Josh made sure to show me that movie, and since then, I have watched it thrice.
Not once, not twice, but thrice.
And frankly, the movie is an absolute gem, so I really need to talk about it.
Ho 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 ho! Delightfully devilish, Seymour.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to Delightfully Devilish, the show where we discuss films that all at once meet the criteria of being the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm your host, Jukebox Harry, and today we're going to be looking at one of the most underappreciated comedies of all time. EuroTrip is a 2014 sex comedy directed by Jeff Schaffer, a writer who has contributed to Seinfeld, Bruno, The Dictator, and the delightfully devilish comedy film The Cat in the Hat. He also directed several episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and yet EuroTrip remains his sole theatrical directorial effort to date. And that's quite a letdown. EuroTrip came out in the wave of teen sex comedies that followed the success of American Pie, movies that had no plot, just engaging characters, a lot of nudity, and a lot of crude humor. And although almost no film attained the same success as American Pie did, I feel like EuroTrip is probably the most on par with that film in terms of quality. EuroTrip took a long time to come across my radar. I used to work in a DVD store and it was on the shelf, but I always walked right past it because I associated it with the teen comedy film Road Trip, which is unrelated and was frankly quite terrible. And I know I'm not alone in making that incorrect association. But my boy Josh has watched the movie so many times because it was always playing on TV for him growing up, and he was sure to show it to me when I turned 19. I've also started making Simpsons memes about it recently, and when I started posting those in Simpsons shitposting groups and realizing just how many people love this film, I realized there's a huge cult following behind EuroTrip. And yet the film only made $20.8 million on a budget of $25 million when it originally came out. So it really hasn't gotten as much appreciation as it deserves. But me being me, running a series about bad films, good bad films, movies that no one's talking about, movies that should be talked about, I'm going with EuroTrip because if you haven't seen it, you should have. EuroTrip begins with flashy opening credits depicting a series of cartoon gags. And if there's anything I learned from The Master of Disguise, it's that flashy opening credits can be a red flag for a film that's short on ideas. But you'll learn pretty quickly that this film is so built on tropes and formula that it doesn't even pretend to have many fresh ideas. It just wants its audience to have a good time. The story actually begins with our protagonists Scotty and Cooper graduating from high school.
Congratulations, graduate.
Thanks, baby.
And congratulations to you, Cooper.
Aw, thanks, baby.
Scott, we need to talk.
Yeah? About what?
About me dumping you.
Straight away, in comes the family with Jeffrey Tambor as Scott's father.
Okay.
Smile, you too.
Action.
Hey, no touching!
No touching! No touching! No touching! No touching! No touching!
Scott, I just can't take all the lying and cheating on each other anymore.
Stop it. What are you talking about, sweetie? I never cheated on you.
I know, that's what makes this so hard.
Her entire character description must have just been bitch.
You're just so predictable.
Well, so is this film, but as EuroTrip teaches us, predictability can be good.
Watch this, Lise. You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half. And now.
Fiona! This is just so brutal.
Rather than moping about in the breakup drama, EuroTrip quickly moves on.
Fiona!
Mail, motherfucker!
We learn that Scotty has a German pen pal named Mike who he struck up a good friendship with.
You met a cool guy on the internet. Okay, this is how these sexual predators work. Next thing you know, he's going to want to arrange a meeting where he will gas you and stuff you in the back of his van and make a wind chime out of your genitals.
That's very specific.
Come on, let's go to Wade's.
All right, screw it. Let's go. I'm not gonna let Fiona ruin my graduation night.
Oh, just you wait, Scotty. Then we're at a graduation party, and the kegs here were filled with real beer. That is a risky move for production, but it also means that the extras are probably having a really good time, so I gotta give props to the filmmakers for that.
What's up, losers?
What's up, Jenny?
What's up, dude?
Sorry to hear about Fiona. She's a whore.
Well, that's very sweet of you, thanks.
When I first saw EuroTrip, I had just finished watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and having spent years seeing Michelle Trachtenberg as Buffy's younger sister, it took me a little bit of adjusting to see her as a different character.
Look around. There's got to be 100 drunk girls here, and we should be trying to have sex with every one of them.
Hello? Mixed company?
What?
I'm a girl.
No, you're not.
Yeah, you're just a cool guy with long hair.
The two main characters in EuroTrip do not rise above the horny teenage boy archetypes established by American Pie, but the fact that we've got a girl on the team who isn't just someone's girlfriend or someone's sister, the fact that she's a member of the friendship group, honestly, I will give them props for that.
Why'd you get me gin and tonic? I hate gin.
You do? You guys are the worst twins ever.
Jenny and her uptight twin brother Jamie have an entire summer of backpacking around Europe planned.
You brought a guidebook to a party?
Do you guys want to see my itinerary?
Do you want to see my balls?
No! Dude! No f***ing way!
When I watched this scene, I honestly could not contain my laughter. I fucking pissed myself. God, the way he says it so organically, that fucking wide smile across his face, that is just flawless line delivery. It's not my favorite moment in the film, but it's definitely my favorite line. And since watching the film recently, I have honestly been waiting for someone to approach me and say, hey, do you want to see something in a random context, so that I can hit back with that line. And I'm still holding out for it.
I heard 2 years ago, Nikki Jagger's sister Debbie met this really wealthy French guy and they spent a month sailing the Mediterranean on his yacht. Isn't that just the most romantic thing you've ever heard?
You're stuck on a boat with a weird French guy? That sounds a little gay.
It's not gay. I'm a girl.
Kinda gay.
A little gay.
Actually, according to the internet, it is gay, because if you're a straight man having sex with a straight woman, that means that you're having sex with someone who likes dick, and that makes it gay.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Got a little special thing I'd like to do tonight. We'll play a little song for you about the nastiest, freakiest little sex puppet I know, Fiona.
Your eyes do not deceive you. That is actually Matt Damon.
Matt Damon!
95% of EuroTrip was shot in Prague, around the same time that Matt Damon was over in Prague shooting The Brothers Grimm, which was a terrible film, by the way. And he actually went to college with the writers on this film. So they asked him to come and play this role in the film, and he jumpingly agreed to do it. And he went really fucking over the top for the role. He went all out for the cameo. And again, props.
Scotty doesn't know that Fiona and me do it in my van every Sunday. She tells him she's in church, but she doesn't go. Still she's on her knees, and Scotty doesn't know.
Enter the most iconic scene in the film. Matt Damon lip syncs an iconic early 2000s rock song about Fiona cheating on her boyfriend while Scotty watches. Meanwhile, Cooper...
Holy cow! Oh, this isn't where I parked my car.
There's a long scene here where Cooper convinces this girl to remove her top and keep rubbing her breast, but unfortunately YouTube won't let me show it to you. But it's okay, because you need to watch this film anyway, so you'll get to enjoy the nudity when you actually watch it. Mike asks Scotty if they can meet up, which freaks Scotty out.
I don't want to arrange any meetings with you, you sick German freak. So please keep your hands off of my genitals and never write to me again, and don't come to America.
Then he passes out, and the next morning...
Bert, what are you doing?
Reading your email.
Scotty's brother, who is more versed in German, helps put things in perspective for him.
That's Jan, a man's name, and that's Mika, a common German girl's name, similar to our Michelle. Ich verstehe dich nicht, Scott Thomas.
Email not delivered, no. No, come on.
I mean, you could always create another email address and message her. That'd make things so much easier and, well, avoid the entire EuroTrip in question. It's actually a pretty big plot hole.
That's Mike? That's who you've been writing to all this time?
Yeah, you know, until last night when I took your advice and told her to keep her hands off my genitals.
Well, given what we know now, that seems like the exact opposite of what you want.
I'm going to Germany.
No, we're going to Germany.
To get cheap flights, they agree to courier a package to London, but it never comes up again. Then they go to a bar to get a drink, but encounter something unexpected.
Soccer hooligans.
Hey, this isn't where I parked my car.
Oi!
Vinnie fucking Jones.
The bloody hell are you?
I'm Rick James, bitch!
This is a private members bar. Exclusively for the supporters of the greatest football team in the world. Manchester United.
The man who played for Wimbledon and who still to this day is not a fan of Manchester United agreed to play the head of the Manchester United fan club in this movie, and he went all out for the role.
Now please, enlighten me. Who the fuck are you?
That is a good question. And Scotty?
After Scotty claims to be the head of the Manchester United fan club from Ohio and singing 9 to 5 by Sheena Easton, he manages to win them over.
Pretty good. Pretty damn good, lads!
On my last job, I actually had a supervisor trick me into thinking that he opened a beer like that. I don't know if it can be done, but fuck. Cooper and Scotty spend the night getting drunk with the hooligans, and they wake up on the wrong bus going the wrong way.
All European countries should have a seat at the table. Except those fucking eye-ties. I hate them Italian bastards.
So I tell the swamp donkey to sack it before I give her a tonk in the tradesman's entrance and have a lick me yarbles.
I know some of these words.
Come on! You're on the wrong side of the road, you snail-eating puss! Back off! Go on, you Gaelic fucking garlic bread tossers!
Bus wankers!
Get in here and say that, you froggy eye-ties, shite eyes!
Vinnie Jones does not have an off switch in EuroTrip, and it's a good thing, because if you cast Vinnie Jones, you know exactly what you're going to get. And if you're going to get that, you might as well use it for all you can.
Hey lads! That wanker's got a front football shirt on! Let's give this Nancy a fucking good kicking! Come on lads! It's going off!
Scotty and Cooper meet up with the twins, and then there's an extended scene with Scotty challenging a robot busker to see who is better, and frankly, it's the best acting we get to see from Scott Melkowitz. He is by no means a brilliant actor, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone do the robot nearly as well as he does in this scene, and that is a special talent.
Sweep the leg, Scott! Don't look at his eye, Scotty! Don't look at his eye!
This contest is over. It's groin. It works at so many levels. Error, error, error.
After filming this, I remembered that this whole scene is actually not too dissimilar from an experience I had in San Francisco. I was working at a Jewish summer camp, and the entire camp and I were preparing to cross the road, and a Michael Jackson impersonator came up behind me and challenged me to a dance battle. With everyone watching me, I turned around and fucking went for it, and it's one of the best times I've had in my life, I think. The four decide to take one last trip together before going to different colleges, going to Berlin and stopping off at several spots along the way.
What the hell is that?
You know what it is, bitch.
On the next train, they get accosted by an Italian man with a lack of respect for boundaries.
Pardon me.
Eh?
Oh. Mi scusi. Mi scusi.
Italian, look out for the Italian man.
And every time they go through a tunnel, he goes a little further.
What the hell are you doing?
Oh, mi scusi, mi scusi.
No!
Mi scusi, mi scusi.
I can't help but wonder if this is the reason Vinnie Jones's character doesn't trust those eye ties.
What? Big tunnel.
That face right there is the Kubrick stare if I've ever seen one.
Scotty, is that you? Who's in it? Who's touching me? Scotty!
Mi scusi.
Rape. That's a rape. This is what raping is.
The gang arrives in Cran-sur-Mer, and while waiting for a connecting train, they attend a nude beach, only to find that it's full of perverted male tourists.
There's so many penises.
Accordingly, they shot this scene on an incredibly cold day, so all the actors needed to huddle under blankets between takes to keep warm. But with all those extras, there was not a lot of modesty going on set. So it made for a lot of interesting experiences when they approached the craft services table. I can only imagine what that catering staff must have gone through with all that dong on display.
I get it!
Then we reach Amsterdam, where Cooper decides to go to a sex club.
This is definitely where I parked my car.
Xena the Warrior Princess greets him in a scene which quickly begins to resemble the film Hostel, where he finds himself tortured. Meanwhile, Jamie ends up getting robbed while a local performs head on him.
Give me cash. You got cash? Give me cash.
Oh, take it all, you dirty girl.
What? Your wallet! Focus!
And Scotty and Jenny pucker into some Amsterdam brownies.
I think I've got the munchies. Excuse me.
And I think we got a bad batch because I'm freaking out.
Is everything all right with you, Mom?
No, nothing's all right. You sold us a bad batch of hash brownies. You're a bad Rastafarian.
We do not serve hash brownies here. We are simply Dutch bakery. Now put your clothes back on, white boy.
If I had a nickel for every time I've heard that.
The night in Amsterdam concludes with Cooper getting penetrated by some kind of terrifying device. After watching EuroTrip, every single time I see a clapping monkey, I get European Vietnam flashbacks. Toy Story 3 was never the same for me after this movie.
I got robbed. It was awesome.
Without money, passports or tickets, the gang is forced to hitchhike, but instead of Berlin, they end up in Bratislava, where luckily enough, their few remaining coins go a long way.
Love that exchange rate.
They go out to a club where a Slovakian dance remix of Scotty Doesn't Know is being played.
I gotta say, I'm not feeling anything.
Me neither. Sober as a judge. How about you?
I'm not feeling a goddamn thing. This absinthe is bullshit.
The scene hits a whole lot differently when you realize that that green fairy is actually played by Kenny Bania from Seinfeld.
That's gold, Jerry. Gold!
Drunk off the absinthe, the twins hook up with each other.
Oh my god!
That is some pretty fucked up shit.
Adultery is bad, but incest is fucked up!
You go to Berlin, I'm your right.
Oh, how convenient.
Our gang finally arrives in Berlin, only to learn that Mika has gone to Rome. And of course, you can't go to Germany without making a joke about Hitler, but this film decided to take it one step further and have a kid do some goose-stepping with a Hitler mustache. All the ways they could have gone about this joke, and they went for the dumbest, cheapest shot. And it's fucking hilarious as a result. You can tell the filmmakers were very aware of how dumb they were being when they made that joke. And yet, there was one joke that was in the original script that was deemed too politically incorrect for this film, which seems to celebrate bad taste a lot. And it was a scene where Cooper ends up confusing a sex club for the Anne Frank house. And I'll let you fill in the gaps of what was supposed to happen in that scene. They wrote the Club Vandersex scene in to replace that. Anyway, they go to the Vatican to find Mika, and somehow the film manages to avoid making any pedophile jokes. That is definitely what I would have done. Fuck the Catholic Church. Cooper rings the bell to signify that the Pope is dead, and then they accidentally set the Pope's hat on fire.
White smoke! They've elected the new Pope!
And then the film goes Life of Brian on us.
It's the new Pope!
What the hell?
After sliding down to the ground, he finds himself accosted by the Vatican staff.
You're in big, big trouble.
Oi!
England 5, Germany 1, Take your mitts off them boys! They're with me!
Deus Ex Machina, thy name is Vinnie Jones.
I've just about had enough of you fucking eye-ties! But I am Swiss. Them too!
Mika, I'm here. I made it.
Who are you?
I'm Rick James, bitch.
I love you, Mika.
Okay, that was a bit much.
We were perfect for each other. What do you think?
In the original ending, Mika actually turned him down. I gotta say, that would have sucked. Audiences watching this film, they don't want to be challenged at all. They want something predictable. They want to know exactly what's going to happen in the end so that they can go home feeling good. It's the same reason they had to reshoot the ending to Dodgeball so that everyone ended up happy. Movies like this, they don't try to be intellectual. They don't try to challenge your perception. You want them to give you exactly what you're expecting and make you laugh along the way. And with this ending, EuroTrip does. Jamie gets a job touring the museums and cathedrals in Europe, and Cooper ends up joining the Mile High Club with Jenny on the flight home. The film ends with Cooper and Jenny dating, and Mika rocking up to Scotty's college to reveal that she's his new roommate.
How is this possible?
Well, first of all, through God, all things are possible, so jot that down.
This happy ending is bullshit. When does a fairy get laid?
And being an early 2000s comedy, we get to enjoy some credit cookies. The highlights being Mika's brother being choreographed on how to goose step, and Vinnie Jones improvising all the insults he can.
Fucking come and have it! You fucking pimp! Will pimp, you bastard, all over your fucking nose! Fuck off! Go on, you French bastards! Get on the other side of the road, you pricks! God out of it! Fuck off! I'm knackered.
Is EuroTrip a good film?
Pretty good. pretty damn good, lads! Yeah!
Make no mistake, EuroTrip is not a film with any ambition. It doesn't have an original narrative, it has no interesting characters, it doesn't try to challenge audiences or offer anything innovative. It simply sets up a European setting so that back-to-back comedy skits can play out. And if you can embrace that, you'll probably have a good time, because I had a fucking great time every time I watched it. It always relies on thin gimmicks, from stereotypes about European culture to celebrity cameos to so much goddamn nudity. The way it succeeds is by doing this right. Jeff Schaffer lines up a talented cast and lets them run wild in this film, playing to their strengths and letting them have fun with the material. EuroTrip is clearly a labour of love for everyone involved because everyone exhibits a passion for the material. And for a film that only cost $25 million and was shot almost entirely in Prague, it also manages to utilise its European setting to offer a nice backdrop to the story. But no one came here for the imagery, unless they're talking about the nudity. Now, I do have to play the feminist card and say that almost all the female characters in this film get very few lines and exist solely so that they can end up appearing naked. Now, this film isn't even trying to pretend like it's progressive in any way, shape or form, but I will give it props for having female characters that are actually funny rather than just being the stereotypical wet blanket. And of course I've got to say I like the nudity because EuroTrip actually exceeded any expectation I could have in terms of boobage, but it also gave us some dong. And the American Pie films didn't give us any uncensored penis until the fourth movie. EuroTrip hit us with it the first time, so yeah. Another thing I do have to point out is that the film does make sexual assault a key part of its humour, which won't fly in movies anymore. It tries to circumnavigate stereotypes by making it primarily about male victims, such as Cooper getting assaulted in the Vandersex Club and the Italian man touching the male characters inappropriately. And in a sense, this does perpetuate a negative stereotype that it's okay to laugh about sexual assault if the victims are male, which of course is not okay. But all in all, you have to look at EuroTrip as a product of its time. The film was going for shocks, and while you wouldn't see stuff like this in a modern comedy, at least EuroTrip doesn't attempt to normalise the behaviour. It confronts audiences with the discomfort of the subject, whether or not it makes them laugh about it. Aside from that, there isn't really much to say about EuroTrip because it's a pretty brainless comedy which simply wants you to have brainless fun with it. I mean, if you don't care about the loose narrative, you can drop in and out of it. You can come into this movie halfway through and just follow along with it. It just wants you to laugh. And if you can look past its lack of ambition, then hopefully it will have you laughing. The core of the film's success comes down to the cast. Scott Mecklowitz plays a stereotypical protagonist you've seen 100 times before. His entire motivation is being insecure and horny, but the guy also avoids leaning into any kind of melodramatic territory. He doesn't really try and do the drama, he just does the comedy, making sure to have fun with the role and bounce off everyone else with solid chemistry. The highlight of his performance is the robot battle because the man does an excellent robot. Travis Wester plays an uptight stereotype, but he does it with dedication and sincerity, steadily becoming more funny and likable as the story goes on. And Michelle Trachtenberg proves herself perfectly capable of stepping out of the shoes she wore on Buffy and making a likable addition to the team. She brings a natural, infectious energy to the role. But of course, the standout of the main four actors is easily Jacob Pitts. Cooper is consistently a one-note smartass throughout the film, and that note is pure hilarity. With flawless comic timing and a completely smartass look across his face, Pitts is a consistent comic standout and a flurry of funny people. He is as funny as Stifler, but a whole lot less arrogant. And if you've seen The Pacific, then you know the man can do drama too. He actually does have pretty good acting talents in many ranges. But as funny as Jacob Pitts is, the gold star for this film still has to go to the head of the Manchester United soccer hooligans. When you cast Vinnie Jones in a movie, you're casting him to play Vinnie Jones. It doesn't matter if you call him the Juggernaut or Linda Hamilton, he's always Vinnie Jones. And he's at his most Vinnie Jones-esque in EuroTrip. He is an aggressive menace, a loud, obnoxious and intimidating thug who explodes with every word he says, and there is barely a second that he's on screen where I'm not pissing myself with laughter. Even the bus driver couldn't contain his laughter around Vinnie Jones. He's such a genial presence in any film where he's allowed to be unhinged, and EuroTrip knows how to utilise this for maximum comic effect, which makes every moment with him priceless. EuroTrip gets 9 eye-ties out of 10. It is a brainless comedy which exists solely with the intention of trying to make audiences laugh. And with a solid cast, great rewatch value, and Vinnie Jones being Vinnie Jones, it manages to succeed at that. And that does it for today's episode of Delightfully Devilish, you guys. If there are any movies you want to see me discuss on this show, please leave them in the comment section below. If you want to see more episodes of this show, please hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, until next time, I've been your host, Jukebox Harry. Peace.